Hey, I've got a great video for you today. We're going to take the popcorn ceiling off of this house here. And then in the second part of the video, I'm going to show you a technique that we call Stomp to put back. This has been a video that you guys have been asking for, so let's get started. Welcome back to Maintenance Minute. I'm Jim Brock. We've shot tons of home repair videos, and one of them we did a couple of years ago down in Florida was when we removed the popcorn texturing from the ceiling. I had a lot of comments on that video where you wanted a more in-depth step-by-step procedure of how to do that. This house has popcorn ceilings on it. So we're going to show you step-by-step and some of the things that you may run into when removing the popcorn ceiling. One of the things you're going to need is to get either the room completely cleaned out or you're going to have to cover everything in it, because one thing this procedure is very messy. Once you have everything out and you're ready to perform the procedure, you're going to need a pump-up sprayer that's going to provide the water. It just has simply straight, clean, warm water. You're going to need a scraper blade like this, and then I would recommend that you get a drop cloth to put down on the floor to protect if you have carpet or if you've got expensive flooring of some type. You're going to want to cover that because this is extremely messy. So let's get started with pumping up the sprayer and putting a little water on the ceiling. One other thing I need to mention before we go on is what you planned on doing with your walls. In this room, clearly we're redoing the whole house, and this room's going to get repainted. If you don't intend to repaint your walls and you want to scrape that off, I need to suggest that you put some kind of plastic over the wall here. The water that runs off of here will streak your paint, and you will be able to see it. So that's something that you really need to take consideration of before you start. If you plan on repainting the wall, it's no big deal because the paint will go right over it. Hey everybody, I'm Jim Brock with Maintenance Minute, and I'm standing in the middle of a project house that we've been working on for a little while. One of the things about social media and YouTube and places like that is there's all kinds of people on there telling you that you can get rich owning real estate. And there's no doubt about it, owning real estate can be very, very profitable. But the reality of it is hot, dirty, nasty work. Next thing you know, you're undoing some nasty old toilet, or you're trying to clean up after you pulled the insulation down out of a house like we did on this one. Just remember, there is riches in real estate, but you're going to have to work for it, and it's hard, hot, dirty work. I'm Jim Brock. Please go to maintenanceminute.net for more information. Okay, I'm going to recommend, because there's a lot of stuff falling in your face, that you have safety glasses on, goggles, and a mask. I'm not going to wear them today for the video, but I'm going to recommend that you do that when you're actually doing it at home. But the first thing we're going to do is take our 1 gallon pop-up sprayer, and we've got it full of nice warm water, and I've got it pumped up, and we're just really going to spray the ceiling just like if you were putting on like an insecticide or pesticide. So we're just going to put a nice coat on there. You'll see it change colors like that, and you're only going to do a little spot just big enough for you to reach all in one hit. You don't have to get too carried away with it. Put that down, grab your ladder, and then you will watch how easy. Just give it a minute. If it's stubborn, spray it a second time, give it a minute. Just give it a second for the water to penetrate and make it pliable and ready to go. And then you're literally just going to take this scraper blade, and it's going to come off that easy. And it's a lot of people make this harder than it needs to be, but it's just going to scrape off just this easy. And it won't take you any time at all to do an entire room. Now, you'll see I'm running into some spots that we talked about a minute ago where they have painted a few places. So those are the spots where it's harder to get off. And the reason it's harder to get it off is because the latex or the enamel that's in the paint seals that, so that when you spray the water up here, the water doesn't get to it. So you may have to take sometimes you can just sit here and work it a little harder and it'll come off. Other times you'll have to take a sander and physically sand it off. It literally took me about 5 minutes to scrape this ceiling all together. So get your warm water in there, scrape it off, clean your corners up, be ready to deal with your painted spots. And then when it was all kind of trying to dry a little bit, I just took a broom and went along there like that to knock the little tails off, cleaned it all up, cleaned up the giant mess that's on the floor. And then you're ready to decide what you want to replace back to this. If you want to put a smooth ceiling on here, you're ready to just take a thin layer of drywall mud and clean up any imperfections that are in it. Or if you want to do a texture to it, like we're going to do next, which is my favorite texturing called Stomp, then stay tuned right after the break and I'll show you how to do that. Hey, Jim Debrock from Maintenance Minute here. These settling cracks can be quite annoying. If you're getting ready to repaint your room, go watch one of my videos about how to fix those settling cracks. Do it before you repaint the room. You'll love how it makes the room look. Okay, I've cleaned up most of my mess. I've cleaned up the ceiling a little bit, cleaned up the walls, and now I'm ready to put a texture on there. If you wanted to do a smooth texture, all you would have to do is touch it up with a thin coat of drywall mud. But today we're going to do a technique called Stomp. And it's my favorite way of doing the ceilings. So, and I've gotten pretty quick at it. So there's a couple of things that we need. We need a tub or a box of regular drywall mud, nothing special about it. We're going to put it in a bucket and I'm going to blend it together with a special blending deal. A lot of these people use these for paint to do the paint. I use it to do the drywall. All I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it first, then to get all the lumps out of it, and I'm going to slowly start to add some warm water to it. Depending on your elevation and the humidity levels, just like cooking, it'll take more or less water to make it into a mayonnaise-like consistency. So it's not an exact science, but what you're going to try to do is get it down to where it's not quite paint runny, but kind of like a mayonnaise. So it'll kind of fall off of there. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this blend, put it in a tray, and then I'm going to use a technique called cutting in. So this is a regular drywall knife, and I'm going to take it up to the wall, and we're going to cut it in. So let's go up there by the wall, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so by cutting in, what I mean is we're going to take our drywall knife, we're going to put just a little bit of the mayonnaise-like consistency drywall mud, and we're just going to come to the corners, and we're going to pull that in. And all we're doing here is using the drywall mud to paint the ceiling, okay? That's why you don't actually paint your ceiling, is A, so it's easy to get off if you decide to do something with it or have to fix it due to a leak, something like that. So we're just cutting this in with that thin mayonnaise-like. We're just going around the corner to start with, just in the corners. And as you're doing this, you only want to be able to have everything set up to just do a small part of it at one time. So I like to work in sections that I can reach, and that's like 5 foot by 5 foot. So we're going to do this whole thing all the way into this corner, and it doesn't have to be perfect because the next step is going to fill in the gaps. So I'm going to take my mayonnaise and I'm going to pour it in here, and you can pour quite a bit in there. And we're going to do two things with this batch. The first batch, we're going to get our paint roller nice and full of this. Seems like a waste of a good roller. You don't need a high dollar roller for this, by the way, just something cheap. And we're going to take this over, put my stick on there. Okay, so we're going to take our drywall mud that we've watered down, and we're literally going to paint the ceiling with it. And you want to be sure and cover all of the ceiling because you'll be able to see through it when it dries. The reason you do this is because you don't want to actually paint it with a latex paint, because then it's really hard to repair if you should have to have a roof leak and need to fix it or something. So this is why you'll do it this way. And again, I'm working in small areas, like a 4 foot by 4 foot or 5 foot by 5 foot area. Okay, the next step is you go to your big favorite box retailer and you're going to buy a brush that looks just like this. So it's a stomping brush, and it's going to set the pattern. So we still have our wet drywall mud down there, and we're literally going to stomp it down in here like this, get it good up in there. Then we're going to take it up to the ceiling and literally stomp the ceiling. And you can address whatever kind of pattern you want with it, or how thick or how thin you want it to be. So we're literally going to stomp it like that throughout the whole room. You're going to do your cutting along the edge, then you're going to roll it, then you're going to stomp it to whatever consistency you like. You can have it thick and hanging down, or you can have it thin and subtle, whichever way you want it. So let's do the rest of the room. As you go along, you're going to clean it up along the edge here. So you just come along your drywall and you just clean up the wall as you go. And then of course you can sand it off if you need to, whatever. You won't need to. A little bit of water, warm water, will wipe that right off and you won't be able to see it anymore. Hey everybody, Jim Vbrock from MaintenanceMinute.net. Let's talk just a minute about the perspective your landlord may have about maintenance issues. A lot of renters believe that if they turn something into their landlord as a repair request, that it somehow cost the renter more money or is going to be held against them in some way. Trust me, from a landlord perspective, we want to know when you have maintenance requests or that something may be leaking or not working right, because fixing it sooner keeps it from becoming a really expensive repair later. Now, this particular house is scheduled for a complete remodel, but the tenants were in here for about 15 years, and I think this sink probably leaked the entire time. The end result is this floor is no good, and it's going to cost thousands of dollars to replace this. Again, this is not something that the renter gets to take care of, but if he'd have called earlier and said this sink was leaking, none of this would have happened. For more maintenance tips, go to MaintenanceMinute.net. Okay, that's our project for today. We've got our settling crack drying for tomorrow. We've got our ceiling now stomped. It's drying. It's going to be really pretty. And we learned how to take care of the popcorn texturing, all in one really quick video. If you like home repair videos, then go to MaintenanceMinute.net. That's MaintenanceMinute.net, where you can find all kinds of topics and all kinds of videos. Thanks for watching.
Are you interested in woodworking or home repair? If so, please look at MaintenanceMinute.net. Hi, I'm Jim Vbrock, and I'm the host of Maintenance Minute. From my website, you can watch videos on how to build a variety of arts and crafts projects, full-on woodworking builds, and home repair and remodeling tips, too. We recently added an archive section where you can see over 40 years of projects that I have built. Please take a moment and visit MaintenanceMinute.net.